The phones are open. Keep on laughing. Give us a call. You gotta keep on caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop. As long as you've got truth, don't ever stop. You're on the air. As long as you've got love. What's on your mind? Don't ever stop. Don't ever stop. What do you think?
Oh, that's right. We're right here. Am I on the radio? Yes, I'm on the radio. Am I on Facebook Live? Yes, I look alive this morning. So how y'all doing, everybody? Woohoo! I'm gonna play a little of my trumpet here. Well, no, it's my, what is it? Anyways, I'm gonna play it here. Da-da-da-da! Bravo and bravo. A little instrumentation for you here this morning because we all know how important music education is and music is. Because when you get old, you can play things like this just for the heck of it. That's right. So how you doing, everybody? Boop, boop. I am alive. Penny is alive over here. She's not too happy, but she'll get over it. One of us has to adjust, and I'm not doing a good job as adjusting to her, but so she's going to have to adjust to me. Let me tell you, folks, though, last night, it was right. The sun was going down. It was getting a little dark, but it was still light out in the back 40 there. So I said, come on, Penny, let's go for a WALK. Can't say the word if you get my drift. She's right here. And so I said, let's go for a WALK. So we go for our WALK, and we're down there in the lower 40, coming around a corner. I look off in the distance, and there are 3 deer. I believe it's the mama deer with her 2 yearlings, and so they are, of course, going into, we are not here, we are just part of the scenery mode, where there's no movement at all. So I'm going, well, this should be interesting. Penny fashions herself quite a huntress. She goes around the field looking for stuff and tracking back and forth and everything. And actually, I didn't realize this, but poodles were bred for hunting. I thought they were just looking good dogs, but no, they were actually bred for hunting. So we come around a corner, and first she doesn't notice anything. And then she sees the deer, and the deer are looking at her, and she's looking at the deer. She runs around and gets behind me. What a brave, protecting dog I have. She's like, Mom, what are these things? They're so big. So I keep walking because I know that they're going to walk off into the woods. And the mother takes off, and then the other 2. And Penny is like, oh, I got them on the run now. I'm going to chase them. Well, she didn't. She just ran around behind me again, but she thought she was so proud. All of 15 inches tall and about 15 pounds, and she was going to take on a deer as long as she could do it from behind her mom. What a hoot. What a hoot. What a hoot. So anyways, that's just a little of my pre-story stuff here that is happening. 67 degrees right here in Greenwood. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful day. Yes, we are still off the street of 98.5. Hopefully today, tax day, is the day that we get the stream back. Somehow that seems a little odd, don't you think, Ann? Yes, I think it's a little odd. But anyways, we are, hopefully that'll be happening. Anyways, what else have we got going on? We've got a lot going on, actually. Last night, the Republicans had a meeting. They were voting officers and delegates to go to the convention, which is on May 3rd. interesting was the election itself was just kind of that's a method of order, and they have to do it a certain way, and yada yada. Okay, what was interesting was who showed up. That was what was interesting. We had Drew McKissick, who is the South Carolina head of the South Carolina party here. He was here and gave a few words of rousing encouragement. The Chad Connolly was here. He, of course, was a former head of the South Carolina Republican Party. He has since gone on and founded an organization that has to do with faith and everything. Always love talking to Chad. Now, who else was there, though? Can you think of any good reason why your Attorney General would show up? Me either. He must be running for governor. That's right, Alan Wilson. I did happen to ask him. I did get a couple minutes to interview him after. I didn't queue up the interview. There really wasn't that much to it. I asked him about David Pasco becoming a Republican. He should have just said no comment. I think that would have been more effective. But what did Alan Wilson say? He said, let's see, what did he say? He said that the Republican Party was a big tent. And I said, and even after how he went after, I think it was after him and all the things that happened there, it's a big tent, and, more power to him. Now, I will tell you this. So that was a very politically correct answer. I asked him if he was running for governor, of course. Leaning that way, haven't made that decision. I felt like saying, Alan, just go ahead and announce right here, because you are absolutely running for governor for the great state of South Carolina. And so David Stumbo also spoke. So what does that lend to my belief? It lends to my belief that he is probably running for South Carolina State Attorney General, South Carolina's Attorney General. But David, in fact, it was his birthday yesterday, and nobody made mention of that. I think we should have sung happy birthday to him. But anywho, happy birthday. So is he running? Kind of seems that way. Senator Billy Garrett was there. In fact, Senator Billy Garrett has agreed to come on this afternoon on WCRS at 5 o'clock. Looking forward to talking to him, particularly in light of several things. Well, David Pasco, there's a good one. That's a good topic, and just for interesting conversation. Also, what are they going to do about earmarks? They say there's going to be no earmarks, but the grumbling amongst our politicians, the grumbling amongst our politicians is that those that are higher up in the hierarchy are going to get their projects as part of the budget. What? That's what I was told last night. So isn't that interesting? They're cutting out after they've spent, and the other grumbling was that they've spent all this time negotiating the budget with their earmarks, their community enhancement projects, I think is what they call them. But their project, so after they've spent all this time, I guess, going back and forth, this announcement was made. So I'll be interested to hear the follow-up and what is happening there. Of course, another issue to be aware of is that oh, come on, Ann. Oh, yes. Curtis Loftus is having a hearing on the 21st. Hopefully, when we talk to Senator Billy Garrett, we'll be able to get some insight where he's leaning and what he believes. And so I'm looking forward to this very much to see where it goes. Interesting to note, what is the position of the treasurer as it applies to all this jazz? Was this really the treasurer's responsibility, or was it the comptroller? From what I am understanding from some of our politicos is that the general feeling is that the treasurer, Curtis Loftus, should have let them know. And I'm not really sure. This afternoon, when I talk to Senator Billy Garrett, you'll have to tune in and hear this conversation. But I definitely want to follow up on that comment. Senator Billy Garrett is on the Finance Committee, and so he is actually one of the ones that is making up his mind on that, as well as the budget and the, quote, earmarks or community enhancement might be a better word. So we'll talk about that this afternoon with Senator Billy Garrett. That'll be going on from 5 to 6. Make sure you tune in for that. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about here this morning is, what happened to it? Oh, go away. Don't go away. Please come back. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Okay. Did you hear about the alligator attack down there in, what was it, in Beaufort, down that way? Sun City, Hilton Head, South Carolina. 911 call, a South Carolina woman made after an alligator attacked her husband, was released. Well, we're not going to play the call. Who cares? According to the Beaufort County Sheriff's Office, the 84-year-old man was in his backyard in Sun City, spreading mulch, when the gator came from behind and bit him. In the 911 call, his wife said, "He had his arm in his mouth and I poked the alligator in the eye," she continued. "He's got a horrible, horrible leg wound." Well, leave it to women. This is all I can say. Leave it to women to solve the problem. His wife told deputies she acted fast, grabbing a tomato stake and hitting the alligator in the eyes and head until it finally let go. He got a contusion on his head and his arm. Now, are we talking about the alligator, or are we talking about the human, her husband? It was her husband. The man was treated at the scene before being rushed to the hospital. The Department of Natural Resources later captured and euthanized the gator, calling it very aggressive. It's a chilling reminder of how quickly a predator can strike, especially when hidden in plain sight. You will not know that they could be a 12-foot gator. You would not know he's there and will wait for the deer, the raccoon, to be looking the other way, and they ambush. That's exactly what happened, an alligator expert said. The gator's silent approach caught the couple off guard. At the end of the 911 audio, you can overhear the wife telling her husband, "He could have killed you." God. So anyways, I just wonder if this is, I wonder if gators and whatnot are more aggressive right now, if this is maybe mating season or something like that. I'm not suggesting that the gator thought the man was a good partner, but I am suggesting that sometimes they are more aggressive. I have seen that down in our field where there's been a buck. Actually, I've seen 2 bucks in our field, and one buck trying to take over the small, very small herd that we have here. But, yeah, so I just wonder if it had something to do with that, But that was an interesting story, I thought, to share. Here's the headline in my mind. Woman drives off gator with a tomato stick. Steak, excuse me. That was a good one. All right, other things in the news. We don't have a lot of time here this morning, and I'm revved up with bear for bear right here. Not gator, but I probably should be revved up for gator. All right, this story right here is another good story. I think that goes to the issues that the tariffs are creating worldwide. This is a story from the New York Post. Yeah, I tell you what, they hit you with more stories than you can ever. If you are on their list, man, I tell you, they are constantly hitting you. There is no wonder they have so much. All right, China halts Boeing's deliveries as trade war with U.S. intensifies. Now, of course, Boeing has right here in South Carolina, and part of the reason I brought this story up on tax day is because I wonder if the President Trump will make any accommodations or not. But Boeing is going to be in trouble here if they can't get these planes that have been ordered. China has ordered its airlines to halt all jet orders from American manufacturer Boeing in response to President Trump hitting the country with tariffs as high as 145% on Chinese goods. Beijing has additionally told Chinese carriers to not purchase any aircraft-related equipment from American companies, Bloomberg News reported, citing people familiar with the matter. The order comes after China imposed a 125% tariff on American goods over the weekend, which on its own would have doubled the cost of U.S.-made aircraft and parts. So, Boeing... Yes, okay, we'll have to wait on that. Boeing shares have dropped. We gotta get this package, so I am going to play you a little music, and I will be right back. Don't you go away. What are we gonna play?
All across America, talk radio and the voices of freedom.
Don't stop talking, don't stop sharing, don't stop laughing, don't stop caring. As long as you've got a voice, don't ever stop.
Okay, I'm right back. Had to get that package from UPS. Boop, boop. We could be back in business this afternoon, okay, on 98.5. Just wanted to, oh, Lord, Ann. Just wanted to make sure that we had that. So, sorry for the interruption. What were we talking about? Oh, China. Okay, so the question is, how will this affect Boeing? Boeing shares dipped 3% in pre-market trading today over the pause in shipments to China, which the company views as one of the biggest growth markets despite being dominated by rival Airbus. So the Chinese government is looking at ways to provide assistance to airlines that lease Boeing jets and are facing higher maintenance costs. This could be a huge problem unless the president comes in and makes I got so much banging going on. Anyways, unless the president does something. Now, we already know that he is, what did he do? Relax the tariffs on Canada and Mexico because these companies are coming back to the U.S. for cars, for automobiles. But will they do anything for the airlines, particularly Boeing, and with the relationship with China? I don't know. That's just something to be thinking about. Something could have been to be thinking about. So the thing about the tariffs is it's not a one size fits all. And that's maybe where the problem is in this tariffs, is that it's not a one size fits all. The one thing that Trump has done has gotten the attention of the world. Now, how will this affect us? I don't know. I don't really know. I do know that we need to have some stability in the markets. We need to have stability. We need to have stability all the way down the line. So, this is what I have to say. Get the stability back. In other news, the El Salvadorian president was here, and they had a big news conference. You got to give Trump, whether you like him or not is not the issue. You've got to give him credit for being, putting all the people out there. You know, used to be we had Biden and whoever the dignitary, we might get to see him sitting in those chairs in front of the fireplace and everything. Now, whenever somebody comes to town, Trump brings everybody in. I would like to be a fly on the wall, only because I would like to see the makeup and everything that's being done, right? As they get all ready, because all these people are people that were on TV. I mean, we've got a few that aren't, like Rubio, but when you take Hegseth and Pam Bondi and all these people, they're all getting ready to be sitting in there with El Salvadorian Presidente. And I just thought it was so perfect when they talked about bringing that guy back that was erroneously sent to El Salvador, and they asked the president if he would be releasing him. And he goes, how would I get him back here? How am I going to do this? Smuggle him back here? He wasn't supposed to be here in the first place. So when you look at how this thing is developing, I thought that was a great answer. I thought that was a great answer. I tell you what, I got more stuff going on here this morning, and I'm still talking. Can you believe that? Anyways. That's right. You're listening to WCRS 1450 AM.net, or WCRS 1450 AM, the original. Hopefully by this afternoon, we might actually have 98.5, might be resuscitated and back on the air. That's what we're hoping. So, let's make sure that all the stuff that is happening. We were talking about the El Salvadorian president and his jail down there, and he goes, what would I do with him? Yeah, I'm repeating myself. What would I do with him? I would just, I can't send him back. Do I smuggle him back into the States? And that is such a true answer. So always so interesting how we can see what's happening in the world and what are we going to do. What does it say? The connection? Well, I don't know. Somebody's saying when they go to the website, interesting. We'll have to check that out afterwards. So, there's always an issue when you own a radio station, isn't there? Just always an issue. Might try refreshing and doing it again. 10 years ago, I was in Washington, D.C., and I posted a memory there when we were up there doing a fair radio row, which had to do with immigration. And I got to talk to a lot of people that were there for the immigration. We talked to ranchers. We talked to people who, I'll remember one story of a gal who had married an immigrant, thought she was going to have a great life. She is the one that was in hiding now, and he has been okayed to live his life here in the United States after taking everything that she had. I mean, I just remember some of the stories. It was a great time. Did post on my Facebook page, ANNE Eller, some images from that. Trey Gowdy was in the House of Representatives. He was there. I'm pretty sure we had an interview with Jim Bohannon because he was still living in Washington, D.C. at that time. Lindsey Graham, I actually sat down in Lindsey Graham's office, which is quite spacious, and he actually announced on that interview with me that he was running for president. So, sometimes you're just in the right spot at the right time. So, of course, that didn't go well for Lindsey, and maybe that's why he announced it on WCRS. Anyways, that was back when President Trump was running the first time. So that was 2015. So it was some great times. FAIR is still doing those, but they've decided they really like the big stations. I was doing it when they were happy to have anybody that was there. Now they decide, A&L, you just got your one station down there in Greenwood. We're moving on to some bigger stations. And they have, and that's okay. It was fun, and it was a great time to be in Washington, D.C. Hope to be going back to Washington, D.C. Within the next 2 or 3 months, I hope to be going up there. And speaking of Washington, D.C., this Thursday morning, we are going to have a long I Love Ann show because Sherry Biggs will be joining us at 10 o'clock. That's right. From 10 to 11, Sherry Biggs will be live on the air right here in studio. We'll be live on Facebook, live on 1450, and I believe live on 98.5, and the website will be working too, so what the heck. Everything's going to be working, and I'll be able to relax. So, but that's coming up on Thursday morning. If you've got a question for Sherry, that's an interesting one. What if Trey Gowdy ran for South Carolina governor? What would you think of that? 864-229-7984. Text me if you have an opinion. Let me tell you what I think about Trey Gowdy running for governor. I think it would be great. Trey Gowdy won't run for governor. Why? Because he's having a blast being a TV personality. He's on Fox News. He's doing all this fun stuff. It's a job, but it's not really a job, and he's loving it. So I don't think he will ever go back into politics other than to comment on it. By the way, speaking of politics, Tonight is county council meeting. They, of course, go into executive session at 4 o'clock. I mean, they have a lot of stuff to talk about. And for 4 o'clock, of course, these are all executive items that they cannot talk to the public in front of the public. But at 5:30, boom! They will be live on county council. They will be, what will they be doing? They will have a whole, they would vote, they would have a huge, they will be on the stream at Greenwood County. You can find them there on the stream. You can also attend the meeting. Just had one of my Supremos texters say, I would vote for Trey Gowdy without hesitation. I know. I think we all would. That no Trey Gowdy have followed his career and everything. We would love for Trey Gowdy to be South Carolina governor. I got to thank my texter who sent that message in. But I see that not happening because he is too happy doing what he does. Once a week, he does a Sunday night show. He is a commentator on all things on Fox when they need him. He's making the big bucks, enjoying life, and probably playing golf and just saying, this is what I was meant to do. So I don't see that, but that would be an excellent choice for governor. That would be an excellent choice for governor. I'm not sure I understand why our governor Henry McMaster. Just speaking of that, why our governor Henry McMaster was trying to push through the tax of 3.99 tax. Equal, everybody had to pay 3.99 tax. I'm not sure. That certainly failed. They are looking at moving the income tax from 6.2 down to 6%. But isn't it interesting that, supposedly they could have done the 3.99, and they had already, because I talked to some of our politicians, we've already reduced the budget. No problem, man. No problem at all. And now they are, and now they're looking at getting rid of earmarks because they need to reduce the budget in order to get it down to 6%. Is there something they know that we don't know? Maybe. Okay. So, this afternoon, Senator Billy Garrett, got a question for him, got a topic you'd like for me to talk about with him. Please let me know. 864-229-7984. This 864. Oh, excuse me. I got to have a little drink of my green tea. Oh, so good. All right. Anyways, that is what we've gotten going on here. Okay, that I love all your comments. Some of them I can say on the air and some of them I can't. But thank you. Keep commenting. 864-229-7984. That's 864-229-7984. By the way, I got to do a big shout out to Chris Weidman. He was on CBS. Evidently, they must have been having a CBS little promotion or something. I'm not familiar with it. But they were showing Chris Weidman, my biggest fan. They were showing clips from people who had tuned in for this, and Chris had his I'm watching you with the eyeball, some such thing for CBS. So congratulations, Chris. You are certainly out there every opportunity you can be. All right, so we got China is not going to let their people buy Boeing. Regardless of the price, they don't care. They're just not going to buy it. So this is going to put a hurting on Boeing. We got an alligator that's been euthanized because he was too aggressive and was, I'm going to say, looking at this 84-year-old man as a partner. Maybe he was hungry. I don't know. Anyways, and there's a lot more stories to talk about, but that's going to do it for me right here. Interesting that I heard yesterday this topic of rare earth minerals. Do you know? I mean, I heard this on this station. It's called WCRS Radio. I was listening last night, in case you didn't know. And they were talking about that the United States has rare earth minerals. It's not that we don't have them. It's that we don't want to refine them, I guess would be the word, out of the dirt. It's not like you find a nugget of gold when you mine for rare earth minerals. And so what is happening, and this was on America Overnight, evidently they've been sending the I'll say the dirt, but it's this over to China and letting them refine it because they don't have any controls on the environment. If that's true, and I don't know whether it's true because I just heard it on the radio, isn't that interesting that there hasn't been more made of the topic that we actually have them? Because part of the problem is that we need these, quote, rare earth minerals to be able to survive with all the computer parts, the chips, the phones, all this type of thing. And if we do have them, but they are sending them overseas to China to be refined, that really needs to be addressed here in the United States. I don't know whether it's true. I just heard it last night, and I was like, wow, we need to investigate this story more. I have so many things I could investigate. I would never sleep. I don't sleep very much as it is. Anyways, I think we're just about done here. The weather is beautiful. We are looking for great weather this week. My little phrase, whether the weather be fine or whether the weather be not, whether the weather be cold or whether the weather be hot, we'll weather the weather, whatever the weather, whether we like it or not. That's pretty funny, isn't it? Yeah, that's an old phrase that a dear friend gave me, and every once in a while I pull it out and read it because I like it. All right now it is 69 degrees. We are looking at a high today of 72, so we're basically at our high. We are looking for a low tonight of 44 degrees. We will have cloudy skies early, followed by partial clearing. Winds 10 to 20 miles an hour. 10 to 20 miles an hour. My last story is my Mary Poppins story. The other day I was sitting in the backyard. I told you part of the story, but I'm not sure I told you the whole story. I was sitting in the backyard. I got Penny out there. The wind is blowing. I put the umbrella up. I did not have anything holding the umbrella down, which I didn't think was a problem, until the umbrella started to rise. And I grab a hold of the umbrella, and I'm trying to hold it down, and the umbrella literally keeps going into the air, and it lifts me off the ground. Now, I'm not a lightweight by any means, but I had to literally pull that thing down. And then, of course, when I pulled it down, I couldn't pop the umbrella down because it was one of those crank ones. So the thing fell over, and then I had quite a time. But for a moment, I felt like Mary Poppins. I'll leave you with that vision as we close out the show here today. I hope you have a great day. And remember this vision as I close it out. Okay, that may not be my style, but how about this? Yeah, okay. Anyways, that's my show here today. This is WCRS Radio. I hope you'll keep talking. I hope you'll tune in at 5 o'clock this afternoon. Hopefully we will have Senator Billy Garrett with us. Have a great day.
Keep on.